Welcome back to Bazooka Kickboxing and MMA. Today's episode, powered by Perfect Sports Nutrition, is about uncommon injuries that could occur when you start training or when you pick up the intensity and the duration of your training. In today's episode, we're talking about some uncommon injuries that occur when you start training or if you pick up the training duration and the intensity. You could be starting training for the very first time, or you can be maybe starting your first amateur fight. So you're picking up the training, the intensity, the duration, how many times a week you're doing it. And this is when these types of injuries could occur, right? Common ones. What's a common one that you can see? Knee injuries, your ankles, your wrists, your knuckles. Those are very understandable. But these uncommon ones, all right, and I'm going to give you 5 of them today, are ones you might not really think about. So we're going to start from our feet and work our way up. Now, the first one, okay, is actually probably the only time I've ever had to back out of a fight, and it was an early amateur days. And something that you would think about, something that small, is going to cause you to pull out of a fight, but the size of it, how deep it was, you can't even walk. So number 1, blisters on your feet. If you're not used to pivoting barefoot all the time, you start developing these blisters, the tenderness, the soreness, and right under that big toe and the toe beside is when you really start getting those bad blisters. Now, I can see it all the time here at Bazooka Kickboxing because sometimes when I'm cleaning and vacuuming, I'm seeing actual chunks of nasty skin that fall off from the blisters of people. So you got to take care of it. And that's what you're going to see sometimes in gyms when people start bleeding and asking for Band-Aids, most likely blisters on the bottom of your feet, okay? So what can you do to take care of it? Honestly, it's sometimes you just have to slow down the pivoting. And a lot of gyms don't like it, but wear the boxing shoes. I wear these Hayabusa boxing shoes, and they save my feet a lot of times. Now, I do have a lot of callus there now where I'm not going to get blisters, so that's what it does. Take your time. You got to develop that conditioning of your body, the hardening of it to keep pivoting, to keep bouncing, to keep on those balls of the feet. You need those calluses, all right? So blisters is number 1 you might not think about. Now, number 2 might be common, okay, but I'm still going to consider it uncommon, and that's the shin. Now, when people start training a lot, right, or maybe when they first start training, they're not used to hitting things with their shin. So many people still think when they come into kickboxing that they have to hit with their foot, right? So once they start learning and they hit pads for the first time and you're leaving with big bruises and welts and scrapes, and a lot of times when you're in a beginner class, your pad holder really is not the greatest pad holder. So they might be holding pads on an angle instead of sideways, which happens. Now you're kicking the stitching on the side of the pad, you're ripping, and you're starting to hurt. So even when you're starting and you're feeling that little bit, it's okay to wear a shin guard if your shins are really hurting. Build that intensity. So this is where regular bag work's going to help. Touching your shins, making sure the skin gets tougher, the bones get stronger, and understanding that you might sometimes hit with your foot, and sometimes you hit with your higher shins. So there is a big surface area that you can hit with. So the sore shins are the main thing you need to worry about. And the worst part too, when you begin kicking, a lot of the bruising happens on the inside of the shin because we're not pivoting properly and we're kicking with our toes up. As soon as you start learning to kick right, you're hitting with the blade of the shin, and this way you're not creating as much damage, okay? So now let's move to the back side of the leg, which is your calf. Now, the calves, you know, you think about it, they should be used to walking, standing, bouncing, running. A lot of people come from athletic backgrounds when they first start. But what happens is they're not used to that regular bouncing on the calf, keeping your whole weight. And when you're training, you're always on the ball of the foot. When I'm asking you to throw a round kick, right, you're getting on that ball of the foot. You're holding your whole weight. You're pivoting. And you tend to pull, strain a lot of your calf muscles a lot of times, right? Think about moving laterally that you're not used to. This is why here at Bazooka, we train in different, planes. We practice forward movement, backwards, lateral works different part of the calves, cutting angles on 45s, all very important to train the entirety of your calf to not kind of get those injuries. So build it up slowly. work on it at home, even at home, holding onto a chair if you have to. Just simple calf exercises are just gonna help you out, okay? So that's number 3. Moving up again is our hips. A lot of us who do martial arts, we work full time. We might work in an office. We might be sitting down a lot. So our hips, you know, and our hip flexors stay really kind of tight all day. They're not really getting that stretch. Then all of a sudden, work's done. You hit your 6 o'clock class. Next thing you know, your coach is asking you to really open up, loosen up. But your hip flexors are very like a cold elastic, right? You want to warm them up. So this is why it's really important that you, one, maybe do a little bit of mobility practice at home. If you're sitting at work all day, come down, sit in a squat once in a while. Work on just loosening your hips throughout the day, because when you get into class now and you start kicking, you're going to really feel a big difference, okay? So working on your groin and your hip flexors. I mean, even warming up, hopefully your coach has a little small warm-up before you're whipping all these big kicks. Or, you know, keep practicing that mobility, and that little bit of yoga at home is going to help you. Now, the 5th and final one that's going to happen a lot of times that you might not see is shoulders, right? Tendonitis in the shoulder. And this was a big one for me, mixed with my strength training, mixed with picking up my boxing closer to my world title fight. Everything was coming out. And if you look at a fighter's position, everything is nice and rounded, right? Keep your chin to your shoulder. Keep everything tight. You know, you got a rounded neck, rounded shoulders. Good for defense, right? But a lot of times you're overworking the front of your shoulders, okay? So this is why it's important a lot of times that we just do simple back pull exercises. One of my favorites even is getting a band. I can hold it to a pole and just pull, grabbing the bands, doing some back extensions this way. Regular strength and conditioning, very important. You want to work the opposites. You don't want to work one side more than the other. That's where the tendonitis starts happening. So take your time, control, you know, the shoulders. If you start feeling that little bit of soreness and tenderness when you're pushing through here, that's probably the tendonitis starting to develop, okay? At that point there, don't stop training. Just work your legs and knees a little bit more, okay? Maybe work on some pulling to to counterbalance each other to help keep a full structured body, right? Good balance, left side, right side, front and back, okay? It's just like doing too much quad work without working your hamstrings and your glutes. Everything needs to be in balance, especially when it comes to martial arts, okay? So 5 uncommon injuries that I showed you. So hopefully knowing these 5 now, you can strategically kind of plan your training and kind of just think about it. It's more about knowing your body. Your calves might be conditioned, but it might be your shoulder. It might be the blisters from all the pivoting. You don't do bag work. Now all of a sudden you signed up to bazookatraining.com and you're doing all the bag work. Next thing you know, you have blisters and you can't train anymore, right? So the main thing is be able to do martial arts to do it the next day. If you're overdoing one day, then you need 3, 4, 5 days off or even a week because of injury. That's not what we want. We want you to continue to learn. Not every time has to be intense. I always tell my guys at the gym, today's not the day you're winning a world title in class. Take it easy, build your technique, and build the skill around it, okay? And prevent these injuries so you can train martial arts for the rest of your life, all right? Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure you support the channel by checking out Perfect Sports Nutrition. Bazooka 20 gets you 20% off your supplements. My favorite is probably the protein mixed with the BCAAs, which I have probably 2 times a day minimum. Now, we also have Hayabusa Fight, all linked in the description below, where you always see me with the Hayabusa shorts, shirts, and my favorite, the T3 boxing gloves. Last but not least, we have bazookatraining.com, all taught by me, online curriculum for less than $10 a month. Plus, we have an archived video library of over 200 videos now. You can be watching me and listening to me and my training and my curriculum basically nonstop, okay? And every Monday, we still give you brand new videos. We have home workouts, bag workouts, tutorials, sparring drills, all enough to get you learning each and every week for less than $10, okay? Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we'll see you next time here at Bazooka Kickboxing and MMA. Welcome to Bazooka Kickboxing and MMA online training. I'm Bazooka Joe Valtellini, the owner here at Bazooka Kickboxing and MMA. Over the past year, I've designed and created a website to teach Bazooka curriculum at home and across the world. The purpose of this website is for you to, 1, hit your fitness and health goals, all while learning world-class martial arts instruction from me. The beautiful thing about this website, it's geared for all levels. So if you're learning martial arts for the first time as a beginner, we help you progress into the bigger stages. And if you're a pro fighter, guess what? We have different fight concepts for you to improve your tool set and your skills in the ring or cage. As the fastest rising kickboxing world champion and a lifelong martial artist with over 30 years of experience, I've been able to combine my passion for martial arts and teaching to create this website. This website is going to give you some of the tricks, secrets, and inside look at some of the training I use to win my world title. Once you subscribe to this site, you're going to be getting weekly training videos and tutorials that you can do from anywhere. The sections are broken up into 3 parts. The first is bag workout. So if you have a bag at home or at your gym, you can use these workouts to supplement your training. The second is at-home workouts. A lot of us don't have the room for a bag or a bag in general, so these workouts are for no equipment needed and you can do them anywhere. And finally, the tutorial section. If you're having any problems with a specific technique or fight concept that's covered in any of the workouts, go to the tutorial section, learn the technique, and then go back to the workout, and this time, do it with proper technique. One of the added benefits once you subscribe is the forums section, where you can get a more personalized experience where you can ask questions and I'll be able to go in there and answer them. It's all about building a team and a community of martial artists helping each other grow. So subscribe now to get access to all the videos plus more so you can be part of the squad here at Bazooka Kickboxing and MMA.